So I don't know exactly where I was. I wish I could draw it. I probably could, but I knew I was on. Um, the best way to describe it would probably be like it was made out of rock, like some type of structure. It felt like a bridge, but it was massive. I mean, I don't. I haven't been around the world or anything, but it kind of felt like something you would see in Greece or something like that, but it had that vibe to it. It had like that um, European feel to it, kind of. But I was like walking on this bridge, and it wasn't like, it was like, sorry, I'm just waking up. It wasn't like perfect. Like you could tell, like after the dream was over, like I definitely felt like this was heaven. And the reason why was I went back twice, like back to back. Like I woke up and I'm like, no, I gotta go. I need to go right back. And somehow I was able to go right back to the same exact bridge. And I don't know if this was like a bridge or if it was part of like a bigger. It felt like it wasn't just a bridge. It felt like it was part of a bigger structure. Like I don't even know how to describe it, but I just know from like what I was looking at, like it looked like I was looking over the side of it, and I was looking all the way down, and it was just like beautiful water. There was like rocks and cliffs around it, and I think in my mind, I was thinking like Morocco, or I don't even know what Morocco looks like. I have to Google it or something. But sorry, um, but yeah, it was beautiful. And when I looked down, it was so far down. And initially, it kind of felt like it was scary, but I realized that I didn't have no fear. Like the fear was gone, but it was curiosity. And I seen like people all the way down there and just like this crystal clear water, but it wasn't like water you would see like at the Maldives or something, where it was like that really like because when I seen pictures of that or like videos of that, the sand was like really bright white and the water was like really aqua blue. This blue was like a little bit darker. It was almost like a darker turquoise or maybe sapphire. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up too. Like, I don't even know what color sapphire is, but if sapphire is like a darker turquoise, then that's kind of like what it was. And I'm sorry. So when I went to the edge, I'm like, man, this does not. The first thing I was thinking, like, whoever made this, I don't know what they're thinking, because you can fall off the edge so easily. So for some reason, I kind of like grabbed like part of the bottom of like the road. It was like rock kind of road, and why I said it wasn't perfect is because you could see that there was like chips in it, and but you knew it was like a sturdy structure. You know what I mean? Like it felt like super solid, like a mountain or something like that. Like this whole thing looked like it was carved out of a mountain. And so I kind of looked underneath, like where I was at, and I'm like, wow, man, there's a whole bunch going on down here. So for some reason, I started to kind of like hang off the side of the rail, and still didn't feel scared. And I'm like thinking in my mind, I'm like, this looks so real. And I'm like, but is this a dream? And I'm like, if it's a dream, then I know I can fly. So, and I'm like, either way, if I fall, I'm going to fall in that water. But some of that water looks shallow. And even through the water, you can still see some rock through the water. And I'm like, well, if I land on that, I'm dead anyway, you know? But for some reason, like I just knew that it was okay to like experiment with this, what I was doing, because I knew I've never been here before. So I knew that I wasn't here. Look, I knew this was not my real life because my real life is just horribly depressing. So, um, I started to hang there, and at first I was just hanging like up to my chest. So all both of my arms were all the way up, kind of like how if you're in a swimming pool, and then you swim up to the edge, and you kind of just put your arms over the edge, like to talk to somebody or something like that. So that's kind of how I was hanging. And then I started to hang drop. So it was just my hands. And I'm like, at this point, and I knew for some reason I couldn't pull myself back up. So I felt like I wasn't strong enough to do that. So I'm like, man, this is it. But once I was hanging, I could see farther, like underneath the bridge over to my left hand side. And I was just like, wow, I just seen all kinds of people swimming on like little boats, kids, and I could hear music, and it was like really, it was like a live band was playing, and it was just like, it was almost like a tropical type of music. I don't know, but it was just like super. This was definitely paradise. You know what I mean? Like I knew this was some type of paradise, and so I was like, let's go. So I just let go, and I started falling, you know, and I fell into the water. And I knew, like, when I was falling, I could somehow navigate how I was falling. Even though I was falling fast and straight down, I could kind of curve it so I wasn't going to hit those rocks in the water. And I landed in the water. It felt good. And then I was just, and um, I saw like more going on over there to the left, you know, and I wanted to go over there because that's where everybody was kind of gathered. And but then I was like, I want to jump off the thing. I want to jump off again. And then I woke up. And so when I woke up, I'm like, I gotta go back. I gotta go back. So I went right back. It took a couple minutes probably to get back to sleep because it's kind of like where you're half conscious, half sleep. And so I was on the bridge again. Like I started right back at the same spot. And this time there were some kids there. I don't know who these kids were. And they were like, they want to go with me. And I'm like, okay. So I climbed off to the side of the thing. And one kid, he was hanging on the front of me. And he climbed around me to where, you know, he had his arms wrapped around my neck, but he was on my back. Kind of like how a monkey would do or something like that. And then the other kid, I was trying to hold him with my arm, my left arm, while I was about to try to hang drop. And he was kind of low. Like I was trying to lift him up some more. And I was just like, I don't know, for some reason, like trying to think of to do two things at once. I just let go so I could kind of like get a better hold of him. But we fell so fast. And they loved it, but the other kid, you can see he was a little bit scared, the one to my left, because he wasn't as high up. Because the other kid was all the way up, like, you know, on my back, like kind of on my shoulders. But this one I kind of had to the side of me, you know. And it kind of felt like they was my sons or something like that. Like that was kind of like the vibe. But so we fell into the water, and we were like swimming a little bit, and then it was kind of like I just wanted to be over there, And it was almost like just as soon as I thought of being over where the band was at, it was like we kind of like teleported over there. So we didn't actually have to swim all the way, you know, because that would have been a long swim. Would have been tired. We kind of just teleported over there. It felt like, or we just moved super fast, like just by thinking that we were there. And this band was playing, and it was just like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. And as soon as I started thinking about here, I was already starting to fade. And I'm like, no, no. Like, I was trying to, the music was just so live. Like, I can't begin to describe like how I could hear every instrument and every sound. And just like, just like there was absolutely no, the only negative thought was me thinking about not wanting to be back here, like not wanting to be back in my room waking up. And then yeah, I came back, and then I refused to like wake up. I didn't even want to get out of bed or nothing. I just kept praying to God, like, please, please let me go back. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And I just kept trying to go back to sleep and dream, but every dream after that was nothing near that. I don't even know what the other dreams were. They were just bogus. I'm just stressed out, honestly, because it's, for me, man, it's just like so difficult to get a good dream. And I promise you, like, to have a dream like this, an experience like this, um, I can't really remember too many in my life. So that's how rare it is. And that's why I don't feel like it was a dream. Like I really felt like I was in some type of paradise. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you why I think it was heaven was each time there was it was like before I kind of got into the dream, it was like I was aware of a clock, but then as soon as I knew as I was going to this place, to this dream, the time, like the clock that I looked at was like a digital clock, right? And then I don't remember the time that was on it, but I know like right when I was going into this dream, I remember seeing the same clock, but all the numbers were scrambled, and they were going fast. It was just like, and it was just like you couldn't read it. That happened both times when I went into this dream, twice. And I just kept thinking, like when I woke up, I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, infinity, infinity, eternity. There's no clocks there. It's eternity. And that was like made me feel like, yeah, that's paradise. That was paradise. I need to go back. I'm like, there's nothing here that I want. I don't care about nothing here. I don't want nothing in this world. I mean, I pray that to God a lot anyways. Like I'm just so tired of being here, It's just like I know we're not here for us, that we're here to wake other people up. But and I know that we're not perfect, you know what I mean? But we also didn't always know. And I always tell God that, like, look, I know I made horrible mistakes in my life. I know that, I'm a sinner. I know that I always make mistakes and mess up. And it's just like, I know we're living under the curse. So it's like almost impossible. I'm always going to try. Like, I don't never want to get complacent and get comfortable and have like this once saved, always saved vibe going on, mentality going on. Like I refuse to adopt that mentality. I know like a lot of people who have that mentality. I don't. Like I literally work out my salvation with fear and trembling, which means all day long I'm repenting and asking for forgiveness and just screaming out to God from like the depths of my soul. You know what I mean? It's just like, sorry, it's kind of emotional for me, but like a couple days ago, like man, I pray hard sometimes before I even leave the house because I don't want to leave. Like I don't even want to. I'm trapped here. Like I'm trapped in this life. I'm trapped in this body. But I just was just like screaming for my soul, like crying to him, like to get me out of here. Because that's how hard it is for me to be here, you know? It's so difficult being here. And it's not just because the people are nasty, you know what I mean? But they pull you into it because you get tired of it, you know what I mean? And then you make the mistake of flipping someone off because you just went through so much stuff all day long to where that got pulled out of you. And I know it's the enemy, I know it's the devil. And I had a couple dreams before this where I know it was like the devil trying to orchestrate it, and he can't. There's just no way that he can ever duplicate like any of the experiences that I had with heaven. And I had like 2 heaven experiences before. I've never had an experience like this. I've had dreams where I'm flying and doing cool stuff like that. But this was actual paradise, and for some reason I know that it isn't the best that heaven has to offer. Like somehow, and the feeling that I had with this, like even though that was a pretty like awesome experience, and I'm sure I could have lived in that little part right there, for who knows how long. I knew there was way more better places in that wherever I was at, and it's weird because it just felt like there was like an ancient structure to it. You know what I mean? It was like a mythical, like I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like, I don't know how you can mix ancient with like tropical kind of vibe, you know what I mean? And like I just know like there's way better places. Like I know there's like futuristic places there, and I like stuff. I like that whole futuristic vibe, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Man, I hate that I'm here. This sucks. Sucks being here. It's like, oh god, it's like just waking up to have all these problems and the thing is like I've been telling God, like I haven't been swimming. It's been so hot. I haven't been swimming in years. And I've been wanting to go swimming so bad, but it's just like when I'm talking about working out your salvation with fear and trembling, like I'm petrified to like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like I had a different vibe before, like I was trying to be like an obedient follower of Christ. Like I don't want to take my shirt off, like I don't want to like entice or like you know what I mean? Like I don't want to partake in lusting, whether I'm provoking it, and I don't want to be around it either. You know what I mean? And it's kind of it's unavoidable in like what I do, like how I work, because I'm always traveling, and so like I'm always seeing different people every day, all day long, and people wear what they want to wear. You know what I mean? And like just yesterday, there was some lady in her front yard in a G-string. You know what I mean? And she was squirting. She's out there with her kids playing in the water, squirting the hose at her dog. And I mean, she was like in the front yard in a G-string, like, and I'm just like, ah, man, this is crazy. Like the way people be dressing. And then 2 other women I delivered to yesterday, they were just like, you know, just completely exposing the upper half of their body, bending over in front of me and everything. And it's just like, man, I gotta try to look away. Like I'm not married, I'm a single man, but it's the same mentality of being married. You know what I mean? To where you don't want your eyes, things happen, but you don't want to gawk and stare and do the double and triple take and all of that type of stuff. And so yeah, I mean it's the flesh, you know what I mean? And being single and abstinent is I mean, it's different. I've been this way for a while now, so it's not like entirely new. But I know once I became single, and like into 2016, beginning 2017, um, I kind of did backslide and was in the world a little bit, not too much, honestly, just because there was so much going on, I really couldn't. And the Lord was pressing on me heavy. So, and I mean, it's tough. Like when you don't know all the things that we know now. Like as Christians that want to be obedient. Like I always was a Christian, but I just believe that once saved, always saved. So that's why I get so bent out of shape when like Cloud9 Blessings and all these other channels are just like, all you have to do is just believe in Jesus and you're going to heaven. And it's just like, man, like what type of relationship do they have with God? And it's crazy because they're always the people that promote that once saved always saved doctrine. They're always posting content. It's like, yeah, I got a vision. I got a prophecy. I got a prediction. I got a dream, another rapture dream, another rapture dream, another rapture dream. And I was just like, God, what is going on here? Like, how come I'm not getting things like what's wrong with me? Because I'm fasting, and I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, I fasted 2 months ago, for from 6 a.m. to noon. I'm talking about I fast every single day for like years to a certain time. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm fasting. And I'm talking like, okay, yeah, dry fast from 6 a.m. to noon, that's super easy peasy. That's nothing. Dry fast until 2 p.m. Easy peasy. Go to 5 p.m. You know what I mean? And I mean, and there's harder fasts out there where you're not consuming anything for days at a time. You know what I mean? I work in the heat, so I definitely I've tried it, but you get you get dizzy, you get a little bit disoriented. Like you definitely need liquids. You know what I mean? To be in the heat like that every day. So and sometimes I gotta apologize to God. Like God, I'm sorry. I need some water, man. I need some water. I'm sorry. It hurts me to break a fast like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, and you know what? I fast and still nothing. And I always think in my head, there's no partiality. From God. So man up. But that's what makes it all tough. You know what I mean? It makes it tough because you're doing all these things and you're it's just like a little kid drawing a picture for hours and then he tries to show his dad and his dad doesn't even pay attention to him, doesn't even look at the picture. You know what I mean? Or he looks like, oh yeah, that's cool, Bobby, and then he goes back to watching TV or something. No, I mean that kid wants you to put him on his lap and be like, wow, look at all these collars, what's that, a giraffe? And oh, you put the little doggy there, and oh, that's me. That's your mommy, and that's you and your brother and sisters. Oh, man, let's hang this up on the wall. Wow, Bobby, that's amazing. I love that. We're gonna put a frame on it. That's what the kid wants. You know what I mean? So for me, sorry, man, I don't know. Maybe this is a midlife crisis, or I'll just get more emotional as I get older. But you want that from God, like you want that. You want some type of acknowledgement or recognition. It's not about works. I hate when I hear people say that. It bothers me so much. It's just they're like trained CIA agents or just trained agents of the devil that always want to follow up the once they'd always say with works. Pastor Sandy always says, nah, me being faithful to my wife, that's obedience. Me buying my wife flowers, that's works or something. Something like that. But you get what I'm saying. Like, there's just two different things. Like, yeah, we're being obedient. That's one thing. But, you know, for me, if I'm proud that I'm overcoming things that were problems for me in the past, that's huge for me because it was such an obstacle, you know? And it's not so much that I want a reward or acknowledgement, but maybe just a confirmation that I'm doing that I'm on the right track and I'm doing things that I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? This whole life has like been a guessing game for me. You know what I mean? And that's what makes everything so difficult. And yeah, you can read the Bible, but the Bible isn't really that easy to understand. Even when you have the Holy Spirit, like these things are, you know, these things don't always click. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why people go to other, people that have been studying it longer, that have the time to study it. I mean, if you got time to sit there and study all this stuff, man, that's a blessing in itself. Because some people just don't have the time to do it. There's just too many things going on in life. The devil's got us hopping around from one foot to another. You know what I mean? Like some of us, like me, are worried about being homeless. I'm so paranoid about ended up homeless. Like I could not even tell you, and I don't do these things like asking for money and trying to really create the YouTube thing like that. Like I really just depend on God. And that's why I break down so much, because it's just like, God, if like, what am I going to do? Because I don't know anybody. My parents are dead. I don't have really any connection with my half brothers or my real sister, my half sister. So I really have nobody, you know what I mean? And you just got to sell stuff, like I'm at the point now, I'm just trying to sell whatever I can sell out of my apartment so I could try to pay my rent, you know what I mean? Because I don't have the most lenient landlords, to be honest with you, I've been in situations with them before, so anyway, prayers, I guess, because obviously my prayers ain't working, my fasting isn't working, but that dream made me feel good. So maybe death is around the corner, and hey, that's awesome. That would be just the most beautiful thing in the world. And I know it doesn't sound right to just a random person. They want to keep you here. They want you to stay here and suffer. I don't want to be here no more, man. I don't want to suffer. I'm so tired of struggling. I'm just so tired of working like 12, 14-hour days for $100. You know what I mean? Yeah, what kind of work I'm in, right? Yeah. So you already know. All right, y'all. Peace.